Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another DADCAW. It is 1:23 in the afternoon of Sunday, the 22nd of March, 2020. It is a new week. It is the penultimate week, I believe, of the month. Last complete week, probably. Let's double check that. Fact check me. Oh yeah, we only have 3 days of March in the last week, or the next week. Anyway, wanted to talk a little bit about some Hydra plans, actually. So, Hydra is going to be scaled back a little bit because with my recent focus on Inconsummate and this Total Deer Mapcrap map that I've been working on for Season 3, Episode 4 of Mapcrap, and I decided to just almost full toilet it, basically. A lot of interesting developments came from that, and one of the things that I realized is I actually have a lot more fun working on maps that I have more complete control over, you could say. I think I spoke about this probably several times during the Inconsummate mod streams, but also on one of the more recent by design videos or DADCAWs. And the point is, when I'm working with Hydra, I am actually limited by the original lore, and it is meant to be constrained in some respects. And when I'm working on Inconsummate, it's kind of a similar thing, except I have a little bit more, executive control, and I already believe in a lot of the mission designs and the sort of force allocations, if you will. The idea that, oh yeah, the matchup is going to be Zerg versus Zerg, or Terran versus Zerg, or whatever the matchup actually is. In Hydra, I can really only inject a couple of new players here and there. I can't completely morph everything around. For example, in the Terran campaign, I won't always be able to deploy Protoss. I can really only do that for 2 or 3 missions in the entire campaign, and that's assuming I even go back and decide to do Biting the Bullet or something, or whatever the Operation Silent Scream was the micro one. So yeah, I guess it would be Biting the Bullet in that case. So if I decided to do something like that, then yes, I can have another mission where you fight Protoss, but otherwise you don't really have any opportunity for me to inject Protoss in without it completely breaking the balance of the map or the identity of the map. So this is where we run into a potential issue, right? With that in mind, one of the things that I did want to get work done on going forward was more work done on original ideas for map setups, basically premises for a mission. And given the fact that I am so commonly dealing with situations in Hydra that don't exactly meet where I want them to go, right? I can't always include the exact number of opponents of a certain race or faction that I want to include, given a certain mission premise that I have in my head, because it doesn't mesh well with the original concept of the vanilla mission that I'm then editing. Brood War does have a bit more flexibility in that, but still not as much flexibility as I would like, and as a result I've decided I'm just going to cull Brood War from the entire project, and instead we're going to focus entirely on making Hydra reimaginings of the first 3 campaigns, the vanilla ones. And that also saves me the trouble of having to deal with so many stupid Kerrigan lines, so that's great. But it does mean that there will not be the final 3 campaigns for the game will not be Hydra-ified. They will not be remade. So with that being said, it opens up more time and more opportunity for me to then have the ability to go in and get work done on stuff like Inconsummate, stuff like these map craps, stuff like maps that are a bit more original in that sense, that have more originality or more options for me to communicate original ideas. And in that sense, I think it will work out pretty well. And I think that's really the biggest announcement that I can make, is that Hydra is being scaled back a little bit. But I did also want to mention that we will be starting the Classic FPS series. Tuesdays and Wednesdays are my stream days, if you will, for gameplay streams, because those are the days I'm not working. Saturday, obviously, I also do Fraud Night. I'm not working then as well. Maybe I could fit some time in there as well if Dynamo were available for the FPS games and I happen to have some free time, but usually that's for the sake of Big Boys Table recordings or something like that. It happens on Saturdays sometimes. But Tuesday and Wednesday, I should be able to bring you guys co-casted Dynamo FPS games. So Dynamo's obviously mostly an FPS guy. He's a Doom modder. He's been around for a while in those communities. And it was only by chance that we met because he was looking for playthroughs of Yana the fucking Hawk of all things. So that was Tism. But he recently mentioned to me that he would be free given the whole coronavirus thing. So him and I are going to be streaming the gameplay videos of a whole bunch of different things. So basically it'll be just like our Warcraft 2 and other RTS playthroughs that he's co-casted on, the Command & Conquer series most notably. He'll be in the backseat chatting and probably laughing at my failures as I play the classic FPS game. So we'll be starting off with Wolfenstein and then Doom, and eventually we'll get to Quake and Duke Nukem. And I don't know how long this whole process will take. I don't know how long these games tend to be as far as their running times are concerned. Obviously Doom 2 and like all of the originals, right? The OGs. And from there, we can decide if we want to go into more obscure FPS titles, or if we want to spend more time on custom content for those titles, or if we want to postpone both of those ideas, leave them both there, wait for time to go back to them, and then, you know, do some more RTS content or do some more modern FPS games that are in the same vein, like Quake 4 and Doom 3, for example, are widely regarded as shit, and probably for good reason, I have to imagine, but they are also related to those franchises, so I may decide to run those with or without Dynamo's co-casting joining me. So we'll see what happens, but that was another thing that I figured I could announce. And aside from the classic FPS plans and the Hydra scaling back, I guess Inconsummate streams are resuming soon, so hope you guys are interested in those. And other than that, I did want to talk a little bit about the whole insanity surrounding the modern climate as a result of this whole coronavirus thing. I'll make this part quick because I know everybody's probably tired of dealing with it, but given the fact that everybody's stress levels seem to be ambiently higher than what they would be normally, right? Everybody seems to be a little bit more stressed, and I'm guilty of this as well. It might benefit you to take some time to relax and indulge maybe and not in a way that provides an avenue for weakness, but more in a way of like, you know, letting yourself have more leisure time than maybe you would otherwise. For example, the way that it's manifested for me is, you know, obviously I usually stream. In the past, I've tried to target around 4 to 5 hours where possible. And lately I've been ending it after 3 to 4 hours instead. And sometimes even as little as like 2.5. And I try not to get any lower than that. But the point is to allow myself a little bit more time to then play some video games or watch something on any of the different places that I watch content, Netflix or whatever, just to allow myself to do a little bit more input as opposed to output, right? The idea that you're taking some stuff in more than you're putting stuff out. And I think that has been helpful for a little bit of a de-stressor because it's not quite so much pushing myself quite so hard as I would if the circumstances were completely, you know, sane or normal or whatever. That being said, if I am in a position where I feel like I can handle it, then I do often go full steam. But it's worth listening to yourself a little bit more around these times. It's worth just trying to chill out a little bit more than maybe you are allowing yourself to before. Or, you know, and not to feel guilty about it when you do it is the other thing. The idea that is pretty useful, I think, any time, regardless of whether or not there's a global fucking pandemic happening. But the idea is, if you feel like what you need to do is take some leisure time, if that's what you feel a burning desire for, then what I would recommend is dedicating it to making that leisure time worthwhile, making it so that you feel like it was a really good experience at the end of the time. You watched a really good movie or played a really fun game or did, you know, something, whatever you did, you enjoyed. You listened to a really good album or something. And in that moment, I think you would say, you know, that would be an opportunity anyway for you to say that there was some value in that experience, even if it wasn't productive in a sense. And hopefully that little idea anyway can percolate in your brain as we truck on in this strange world that we live in. I hope you guys stay safe. And as always, wait for more DADCAWs, I guess. Bye.